So we hear about collaboration and sponsorship. And I think the word sponsorship, I know for me, early on, it was almost a turnoff, right? I didn't want to be sponsoring something, or I didn't want to have someone sponsor us that I didn't believe in, or have someone sponsor us that, like I was iffy on this idea of sponsorship. But we hear about the idea of collaboration and sponsorship. So I want to dig into that a little bit. But I want to talk to the people who either don't like the idea of sponsorship or who are sitting here thinking, I have nothing to sponsor. Like, what? Walk us through this. I know you have an answer.
Well, part of the challenge is not everyone actually understands what sponsorship is. So the best way to think of it is it's a marketing relationship. This is key. Some people have had bad experiences, either as a sponsor or a sponsor seeker, because of how they understand sponsorship, which then, of course, translates into results. So sponsorship is a marketing relationship. It's not a handout. It's not free money. Believe me, it's not free money. It's not a handout. And how you think about sponsorship shapes the results that you get. It really is, collaboration is what drives sponsorship, and sponsorship is kind of the end outcome of a really good collaboration. So you want to think about sponsorship as working in partnership or working in tandem with brands and businesses. And so that's key. And as soon as I understood that, that changed absolutely everything. And the second piece on that, once you understand what it is, you have to know how it works. And I know we'll talk about that in a minute. But when people are thinking, well, I don't host events, or, I don't know what I could get sponsored. My first 40 sponsors, and I should say 0 cash. So these were not cash sponsors. They were in-kind sponsors. For a number of years, I had all of my clothing sponsored. So I'm pretty sure everyone with us today needs that.
Hopefully. I mean,
hopefully,
even if only from the waist up at this point, we still need clothing.
So clothing, I had all my clothing sponsored, my hair, my makeup. When I would go on TV for media, I had a company that would do all my makeup and get me TV ready. I had coffee sponsors. I drink a lot of coffee. I've had health product sponsors, accessories, makeup, and the list goes on. Printing of our marketing materials. The list goes on. Now, people might be thinking, well, wait, now what does that really come up to? Well, we determined when we looked at what the in-kind sponsorship was, it was coming to about $30,000 a year. And when you multiply that by 3 or 4 or more years, that's a lot of money that we didn't need to spend personally or out of our business. So there was that. The bigger piece, Stephanie, was the collective energy that happened. So now I've got these 40 businesses who we have great alignment with, and I'm supporting them and they're supporting me. And that's where magic really starts to happen.
Now, following up on this, do you have to be a superstar or an influencer to get these? Like, what was in it for these guys to sponsor you? How did they get something that was worth it for them? Like, what did your hair sponsor, your clothing sponsor, did you have to go on TV and be like, so my clothes are from this right? How did that work?
No, nobody likes that because no one listens, right? I mean, if we think about, you and I have talked about this before, Stephanie, if people see a logo somewhere, like really, if you're driving along and you see a logo, like we had them on our motorhome when we did a cross-country tour, those were there to recognize our partners. But that was not what was going to give the partner value, because most people are not driving, looking at a logo and say, I must go Google that logo now and buy product from them. So that, that just doesn't work, but it was a way of recognizing them. So with sponsorship, there's a couple of things that we really want to think about. And where these 40 brands that I talked about came on and said yes, they came on. I was launching my first book. My social media was very, very small. I think my business pages were all less than 1,000 followers. So believe me, I did not have a big social media following. The key was that all 40 of them were businesses that I knew. They were friends. It was the hairstylist I'd gone to for years. My eye doctor even got involved. I mean, I see him once a year, but the key is these were all businesses that I had a relationship with. And that is the power of sponsorship, the relationship.
I love it. And I think that is very, very important. One is to realize that it's not, I mean, because this was one of the things you taught me, like from the very get-go, is that it's not about having a package and calling someone and going, do you want to sponsor this? Right.
Mm-mm.
It's about building the connection, the relationship. You cultivate relationships for a long time before you're able, because you're able to leverage some big name relationships. The ones that are coming to mind, what are some of the big brands you've been able to work with and build relationships
Well,
with that have turned into sponsors?
yeah, I've worked with a lot of partners over, and I'll talk about maybe some way back when I started with this. So there was a motorhome company in Canada, Fraser Way RV, which was a fantastic company. And we found alignment, and where we found alignment was this was a company that was looking to really promote their travel to people who either travel with pets or travel for business. And my tour actually covered both. And that's what you're looking for. So whether it's working with brands like Staples or whether it's working with the local independent pizza or coffee shop in your community, you've got to make sure that there's brand alignment. First of all, because you're going to talk about your sponsors, not yeah, I mean, you're probably not just going to say we want to thank our sponsors. We tell stories about our sponsors. So when I was on media, I would share a funny story or an example with the motorhome company. I remember being on TV talking about, they were interviewing me on leadership. So nothing to do with the tour, but leadership. And I actually talked about one of our partners, but I didn't say they were our partner. Said I just want to share a CEO tip from somebody I have deep respect for. And then I shared a tip from that company. And that mini interview, I mean, what was that? 20 seconds probably, where that partner, that was worth thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to them. So the key is we're looking for where you can bring them value, starting with people that you know and do business with. That's the key. Most people make a mistake of trying to go to, a national brand at the highest level. And it's important for us to remember that the Olympics are going there, the celebrities are going there. You're going to have the best success close to home. So if Staples was on your dream list, or Lululemon or Starbucks, instead of going to the head office, you go to the one that you shop at or in your community first. That's critical.